Good morning, I'm Chef Ed, and today we're gonna be trying out one of my favorite recipes, something I came up with. It's shrimp and cheddar bay waffles. First things first, I'm gonna prepare the scrambled eggs. Now the trick to some good fluffy eggs is how much you beat it. If you get some air into the mixture, it helps with the fluff. In this case, I add a little bit of milk to basically to stretch the eggs, make them a little smooth and creamy. All right. Now here's where it gets interesting, because besides my normal scramble, what I'm gonna do is I'm going to add some baking powder, right? Second thing I'm gonna do is add some lemon juice to it, fresh lemon juice. Just a little bit. And then I'm gonna season my eggs, salt, pepper, and a little bit of basil. I love basil in eggs for some reason. You should try it out someday. That's my scrambled egg setup. I'm gonna put that aside and we'll get back to that when we start cooking. All right, now we've seen the egg set up. I'm a little bit more comfortable, and we're gonna move on to the next step, which is, I'd say, the highlight of this meal, and that's the cheddar bay waffles. This is something where you could just do your standard waffle mix. This, I'm gonna do about 2 cups. I'm gonna do the standard recipe that they normally give. About 2 cups of mix. He calls for about 1.5 cups of milk. There's a pint. Boom. We got about 1/3 cup of oil. Now what I'm gonna do, let's see, I'm gonna add some garlic salt. So now I have some garlic salt in there. Some Old Bay seasoning, enough to give it some color, but not be obnoxious. And then the kicker. You would want, I would say, about no more than 1/3. The ratio would be 1 to 3 in terms of batter and cheese, right? Okay. And I think we're there. Thick, seasoned, and I'm gonna put this aside and we're gonna move on to the next step. All right, welcome back. We're on to the third phase. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna prep my vegetables that I'm gonna use for this recipe. This one's pretty simple. Like I said, I was going for speed and quickness. So I have an onion and I have some celery, all right? Celery is gonna be a 2-part usage. So I wanna cut little strips of it, not too thick. All of that is part of culinary preparation. You have to envision what you're gonna do with it, how you want it to come out, how you want it to be eaten with what utensils. There we go, that's our onion. I'm not gonna use too much celery for this. Here in the studio, I'm only cooking for a few guys. Presentation. I'm gonna do something, give a little angled cut to these. Leave that there. And one of my favorite parts about celery is that these leaves are very delicious. They're very flavorful. So I'm gonna use them. Boom. I'm just gonna use that as flavoring later. Now the most labor intensive part is going to be peeling and deveining the shrimp. Now I already have some easy peeled shrimp, which luckily it looks like it's already deveined, which is great. All right, so I'm gonna knock that out really quickly, and then we're gonna move on to the stove and start actually cooking some things. All right, so come along with me. I'm gonna start cooking. I don't like to do too much talking when I'm in process, but I'll try to walk you through it. I have my rear burner set almost to 3. I have my front burner pretty much on high, all right? I'm gonna put some oil in the pan. One of the things you have to remember is you want to wait for your pan to get hot, all right? As far as the eggs are concerned, that's not the big deal with that. I'm cooking that on slow heat. But with sauteing my shrimp, the reason I need that pan to be hot is when I throw the shrimp on there, when I throw the onions in there, I need it to scream. I need them to scream immediately. That's what's gonna get the color and the sear all of the seasonings onto it, as opposed to it being a boil. To start these eggs, like I said, I can start them first, set them, and forget them. Remember, the only difference in the eggs, I added a little bit of lemon juice, I added some baking powder, all right? And also I like a little bit of basil in my eggs, so pour that here in the back. And oddly enough, forget about them. I'm done with eggs. They're gonna cook themselves. What I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna throw the onions in first. Like I said, sauteing the onions, it's gonna bring out the sugars in the onion, it's gonna bring out the flavor in the onion, and that's what's gonna help to flavor the shrimp to another level. It adds a certain depth of flavor. While my onions saute, I'm gonna get over to my waffle iron and get my waffles going, okay? Now before the eggs get too far, I'm throwing my seasoned shrimp in. And then I'm gonna use my celery leaves also to flavor the mixture, okay? Now these leaves can go in now. I'm not worried about them wilting or becoming soft. I need that flavor. It's all about flavor. Look at my eggs. At this point, what I'm checking for, like I said, it's slow cooking. So what I'm checking for is I basically ribbon the eggs. What I do is I take my spatula, I run it across the bottom. And what I'm doing is any egg that's already cooked to the bottom, I scrape it up. I'm gonna put the celery on now. I'm going to squeeze some fresh lemon in that as well. Let the heat from the pan and the stove carry the shrimp the rest of the way, and while that's doing its thing, tend back to the waffles, touch the eggs a few more times, and then we'll be ready to set it up and eat. It'll be that easy. And just like that, we have my Cheddar Bay Waffles with shrimp and eggs. A great brunch. And now I'm gonna go eat because I'm hungry, all right? I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you learned something from this. Check me out. There you have it. Hope to see you guys soon.